Welcome everyone to the 6th round of National Under-11 Championship 2025 in Jalgaon. While Adwik is out there with his hand stretched, Arit makes some final prayers before his game, and both of them put their head down. Well, very cute kids playing the National Under-11, but not so cute when it comes to their moves on the board. Adwik is number one player in the tournament. He's rated 2251. Arit is rated 2050, and both of them are on 5 out of 5. Look at the time that Arit has taken to play his first move. He plays pawn to c5, taking 15 minutes on the clock. One wonders what was he thinking for so long. Knight to f3, plays the accelerated dragon with g6. And Adwik now plays bishop to c4. Both of them smiling. That happens in this age group nationals, that the youngsters are have prepared something, have their internal jokes there. c3 played. He wants to push his pawn to d4, and Arit makes an opening inaccuracy. He plays pawn to e5. He tells his opponent he wants to go to the washroom. Adwik is like, sure, and he pushes his pawn to d4. And I think it kind of now gives white a huge edge here, because after pawn takes pawn, you can see that the f7 point has become weak. Queen b3, knight g5 becomes a real threat. So maybe instead of taking here on d4, queen b3 is a very strong move. A potential line could be queen b3, queen e7, followed by short castles. But Adwik goes for castles. And also a nice move. He's taking advantage of the fact that he has a lead in development, and he gives up the pawn in the center. Arit goes knight to c6, defending the pawn. Bishop comes to f4. Maybe looking at the d6 square here. Knight g7 played. The game is heating up between these two youngsters. Bishop to d6. Now this move here, bishop to d6, is pretty good. Castles is played, and knight jumps to a3. Maybe one of the plans is to enter knight b5 to c7, but also knight c2 to d4 could be an idea. He plays pawn to b6, and maybe knight b5 is the best move here. But Adwik gets a bit cautious and plays his knight to c2. But Arit is very quick. He goes knight a5. He attacks the bishop here on c4, and bishop comes to d3. White wants to pick up this pawn, but another nice move here by Arit. I love how he is trying to punch back in the position. Bishop goes back to g3, and now the knight can come to c5. Yes, he jumps in, knight to c5, and now he takes the pawn on d4. White still is slightly better, but you can see that black is fighting back. Knight c6. I love this move, because if you take pawn takes, it actually helps black structure a lot. So Adwik now has to be careful. Meanwhile, Arit seems to be calling the arbiter. Bishop goes to c2. And bishop a6 played. He attacks the rook on f1. Rook comes to e1, and Adwik is like, come back and play. Not letting the opponent go away. Plays rook e1. Knight jumps back to e6. Few years down the line, these will be the top players of Indian chess. It's nice to see them here playing in a light-hearted manner. Pawn takes on e6. But I must tell you, while they smile on the board, the battle is intense. That's for sure. Well, this bishop is very strong, and blocking it with e5 could be an idea, but Adwik makes a mistake. He goes bishop d6 and misses an important tactic here, which starts with bishop takes b2. And look at Arit, he's calculating and he wants to take the pawn on b2. He gets excited and picks it up. And look at this idea that he has. If you take here, queen takes, now the rook is hanging. So if you play rook b1, there's rook d8 trapping the queen. It's insane how tactically aware Arit is. e5, a great move here by Adwik. Maybe the engines don't like it, but it's practically an excellent choice. Arit takes the rook, but now the dark squares can potentially become very weak. He takes on a1 and adjusts the queen there. Knight jumps to a5, and Arit is unsure, like, why is this exchange given, but it is dangerous. For example, imagine a queen entering here with the knight. It could become dangerous, and that's what he does. Queen c1 is on the board. A good idea is to go bishop b7 and just pick up this knight on f3, but he goes f6, and suddenly you can see the tide has turned. Suddenly it's Adwik who's better. He's now threatening perhaps a sack on g6. Rook f7 played, but now there's a big move here, but Adwik misses it. He goes h4. The move was e takes f6, queen d6, bishop g6 takes, and this was a winning position with an attack here and on e6. So he missed e takes f6, a strong move, goes h4, which is also pretty good. And now I like Arit's next move, which is rook c8, because he's attacking this bishop. There's no time to save this bishop on b1 because knight c4, and if you go h5, already I can pick up the bishop on d6. So h5, beautiful move by Adwik. He chops off the bishop on c2. H takes g6 played. H takes on g6 has been taken here, and now queen takes g6 check, picking up the rook. Seems like a good plan. Yes, queen takes g6 on the board. The bishop controls the f8 square, so rook g7 seems to be kind of forced here. And what is the material balance after rook g7? Well, the material balance is even. Both sides have 2 pieces and rook and 4 pawns each. Queen takes on c2, taken. Also, time wise, both of them playing pretty quickly. Arit has 57 minutes. Adwik also somewhere close to that mark. He goes bishop b7. I like this move. He's attacking the f3 knight and also the g2 point. The rook also is looking on that square. And now e takes f6 followed by bishop to g3 might be a good idea, but rook e3 played. A good move there, trying to defend the knight on f3. And now Arit has to find what is the way to continue. It's a very interesting position because it's opposite colored bishops, and he goes f5. I like this move. It kind of now tells white that it's black who's on the offensive, at least for some attacking chances that exist. And now rook to c3 played here by Adwik. He plays his rook. He wants to enter down the c file. That's his idea. Queen e8. And now the queen could jump to g6. It could also go to h5. Adwik wisely decides to trade off the rook on g7. It's a very important rook for the attack. And he goes queen g6, threatening a mate in 1. So rook takes g7, kind of forced here. I mean, there are other moves, knight e1 or knight h4, but I guess much better is to just simply chop off the rook. Yes, takes on g7 with a check. The interesting thing about these kids playing, these under-11 nationals and so on, is sometimes they cannot reach the end of the board. So, queen takes g7 played. And now knight to e1. He goes with his bishop to d5. It still feels that black is slightly more active with the fact that the knight is coming to c4, but check here. King h7. The game should end in a draw. If maybe something like queen e8, queen h5 could be the way to think of a perpetual here. And yes, Adwik plays it. He plays his queen to e8. Knight comes to c4. And now there's a very nice move, which is bishop f8. He finds it. He finds it. Maybe Arit is coming under some pressure. He must play queen g6. He finds it. Trading queens would lead to a drawish endgame. Maybe even black could press here because the a2 pawn is weak. So you should not trade queens. He goes queen d7 check. Now there's only one square left in the position. And now Arit, thinking about where to move his king, goes to g8. He could have also gone to h8, but king g8 played. The bishop is attacked here. And queen to c8. Nice move. Could have also gone to d8, but queen c8 played. And maybe now king h7. He goes back. It seems like Adwik is making some progress here with check. And then next move he could go queen b8 and then potentially pick up this pawn on a7. Comes back king g8. And now I'm expecting the move queen to b8. Yes. So the idea is to give a discovered check and also attack the pawn on a7. a5 played, and I like this move because with this he is saying to white that all my pieces are on light squares, so there's no good discovered attack. Maybe there's bishop takes bishop c5 and bishop takes b6 possible, but would Adwik be happy with just winning of a pawn? No, he goes bishop e7 because I guess he wants to make some kind of a mating net here with queen h8. So queen g8 played, stopping the net. Queen c7 check. And now, yes, very good move. If you played king g6, then knight d3, knight f4 would have been curtains. So queen e7 played. And now there's no real threat as such for this move, it seems. So he improves his position with b5. So fearless play here by Arit. Also the knight is not entering the game because of a mate here. So has to wait. Adwik, he goes f4. It does weaken some squares here. g3 square particularly. The queen could potentially enter here, queen g3. He does play it. He does play it. But now there are many problems. Queen f8 could be one idea. He goes for a check. He looks at his opponent. He goes back. It seems like Adwik thinks he's winning. Arit moves his king up. And check again. And he's shocked here. What's happening? Look at him staring at down his opponent. But actually it's a blunder. This is the key move, king g4. It seems like he's missed something, that the f4 pawn is hanging. Adwik still not able to realize. He goes queen g7, adjusts it. Maybe Adwik just took some things quite lightly there. Check. King takes f4 and he missed it. He missed this move totally. And with this now, Arit is winning. He has a smile on his face. So many emotions. Poker face is something that's alien to these kids. And you can see Arit is so happy. He's like, I'm now winning. He's attacking the knight here. Adwik had to play, by the way, instead of giving, he gave this check, was a losing move. He had to find this incredible defense with bishop h4, which was super tough. King h4 leads to a mate here with queen g5. So queen h4 and then knight d3. It was like a computer-like defense. He couldn't find it. He gave a check, king g4 check, and king f4. Now gives another check. But you can see the black king is now having a wide open field to walk on. King e4, and Adwik asks a draw, and Arit declines it. Of course, this is no longer a draw for him. Knight f3. Potentially there could be a check here from g5, but the king is super safe now on d. It's like the white pieces all went on the attack and the black king escaped to the other side. And well, this is such a critical game from the tournament perspective because both of them are on 5 out of 5. Goes queen h4, trying to exchange pieces, but that's not going to help here because going into an endgame, queen takes h4 is just a loss here. Knight h4 and bishop takes a2. You win a key pawn here. He takes on a2. Have two passers running down the board. And Adwik resigns. Arit wins. Well, what a game. And with this, Adwik wins 6 out of 6. He later on went on to become the champion as well. This game was a very important one in that championship victory.
Today I am joined with CM Aarit Kapil. Aarit, how are you?
I'm fine.
How is your tournament going so far?
It's going well.
You were paired against the top seed of the tournament and you won that game. Share your thoughts about that game.
Yeah, actually, in the end game, I was giving hope, but then he didn't saw one move and lost.
What do you think where he went wrong? Because in middle game you were under some pressure where you played rook f7, pawn takes f6 was coming and bishop e5 was continuation. He missed that, and even h4 when he played, the position looked little uncomfortable for you. So what were your thoughts at that particular point?
I was thinking which I wouldn't save the attack, but he gave me the bishop, which I think so was wrong. He played like h5 and then I played rook c2. I think so that was wrong.
Finally, he went wrong with queen f8, no?
Yes.
And you found it.
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations. Congratulations and best wishes for your upcoming games.
Thank you.